This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, following on from ID Dunedin last week, the city puts its best foot forward as it hosts Trends for the first time. Duck shooting season opens with some lucky ducks managing to evade the dinner table. And a burglary leaves one of Dunedin's charitable trusts out of pocket. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Melissa Barton. About 1,500 tourism industry representatives have arrived in Dunedin for the Tourism Industry Aotearoa Trends Conference. The group includes hundreds of overseas visitors who have a big influence on New Zealand's $36 billion tourism expenditure.
Tourism Industry Aotearoa's 4-day Trends Conference opened last night at Forsyth Bar Stadium in a rugby-themed event featuring former All Blacks and Black Fern Silika Winiata. Junior rugby players welcomed guests, who were also formally welcomed with a haka pōwhiri from He Waka Kotoia and Otako Whānau.
Very positive reactions. People who had been part of Trends for 20 years have said that it was one of the best ceremonies that they had, welcome ceremonies that they had been to. And the group, after they performed and they mingled in the crowd, had over 30 photo opportunities with different people wanting to take their photo with them.
Dunedin tourism operator Sophie Barker has been involved with the Trends conferences for around 20 years and says having it in Dunedin is great for the city.
It is absolutely the first time in Dunedin. When we heard last year, we were like, yay, we've got it in Dunedin, and I think now we've got it here, we're like, wow, this is fantastic. So we're all fingers crossed for perfect weather for the whole time.
This year, 387 buyers have arrived from 27 markets, from Australia to the United States, United Kingdom, Japan, as well as representatives from markets like Brazil and the Philippines. Sophie Barker says it's interesting engaging with people from such diverse cultures.
So we meet buyers from all over the world, which is really exciting. I think today I've had people from China and people from Indonesia and people from Japan. So for every culture there's different ways of looking after them. So it's kind of fun, and you suddenly take it from dealing from someone in Australia where you've got a real commonality to then dealing with people from great big built up cities who this, English is a second language, but they keep saying, oh, my English isn't that great, and I'm like, your English is amazing. My Japanese, not so much.
Organisers believe the 4-day visit alone will bring $2 million into Dunedin's economy. Tourism Industry Aotearoa's Chief Executive Chris Roberts says Trends is worth tens of millions of dollars to New Zealand. At the event, international travel and tourism marketers negotiate new business deals with several hundred New Zealand tourism operators. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
Following on from that story, air travel is one area which may bring people to the city, and a major carrier has announced new services. Air New Zealand has announced it will be adding about 70,000 seats between Dunedin and Auckland per year, increasing capacity on the route by about 25%. The company said this morning it would start operating 5 additional return A320 services between Dunedin and Auckland per week from this October. It will enable connections via Auckland to Air New Zealand's international destinations, including Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, Perth and Nandi. The announcement was made at Trends in Dunedin today. On Saturday, duck hunters were out in force, trying to catch dinner on the first day of game bird hunting season. However, despite a high number of ducks around, some hunters were not having much luck in bringing any birds down from the skies. The South Today visited the Maimais of Central Otago.
The opening weekend of the game bird shooting season saw many ducks staying safely out of range of the shotguns in Central Otago. However, Springvale duck shooter Cros Crosby was enjoying his new maimai near Alexandra, which has been decked out with all the comforts a hunter might want.
Yeah, basically we went to a maimai down south, and it was quite a cool maimai. had all their odd mods and comforts, so we thought we could pretty do the same, and we've probably gone a bit overboard with it, a bit better, and it's just it's a cool place to be, basically.
Crosby admitted the first morning of hunting wasn't much of a success.
Yeah, duck shooting today, you know, we're pretty serious duck shooters. We're not renowned for our sense of humour, but when it comes to duck shooting, it's a very serious business. Today, I shot nothing. The son-in-law, he shot one, and a friend, he shot the other one. So we've only got 2 so far today, but we're going to work on that this afternoon.
On a pond near Omakau, Tony Lepper agreed the shooting wasn't great.
Well, Tom, it's been quite disappointing actually. There was a lot of ducks there when we arrived, and we thought we were in for a really good morning, but they've left, and we've only had a few come back. And there's a couple just flying over now, but they won't land. Yeah, no, so it's been a bit disappointing. No reason, no idea why. It's quite a good day for duck shooting, but they just haven't come back.
Crosby has a theory as to why they'd bagged so few ducks in the opening morning.
We've had 28 ducks coming into the pond through the week, the last couple of weeks, because we've been feeding them. And what's actually happened, I think the ducks weren't actually from here, and they've come from other ponds during the day. And I'd say they've already been shot at, and they're pretty flighty, so they weren't too keen on landing.
The hunters are still optimistic the season ahead will be a good one.
Around here, I think there's more ducks on this pond, and it just seems to be maybe a good breeding season, but I think there's a lot of ducks around. And for someone like me, duck shooting goes on to quail shooting, so we shoot all winter, so we have a lot of time out there, so we get good value for our duck shooting licence.
The New Zealand hunting organisation Fish and Game praised hunters on the safe start to the shooting season, with no injuries over the opening weekend. Around 40,000 people take part each year, with the shooting season concluding at the end of August. The Central Otago News for the South Today.
Running a business that has been more like an extended family has meant work has never been a chore for Balclutha couple Mervyn and Alison Jones. The couple sold their State Highway 1 tourism complex of 43 years at an auction last month. The Peggydale owners are now looking forward to a future away from the 24/7 nature of the tourism industry when the sale goes through on August the 9th. Mervyn Jones said Peggydale had been sold to a local couple, and he is unsure what their intentions are for the 9.93 hectare cafe, function centre and shop complex. A burglary has left one of Dunedin's charitable trusts out of pocket. The Malcolm Trust facility on Māori Road had $3,000 worth of equipment stolen over the weekend. The South Today found out more.
Dunedin's Malcolm Trust is all about helping young people to acquire skills and confidence, as well as helping others in need. Unfortunately, last weekend, some people helped themselves to petty cash and equipment by breaking into the Trust's Bellnows headquarters. Youth worker Jethro Schroeder says the burglary has been a setback.
Tools, equipment, specialist gear that's been taken, and it's not much good to anybody else, but for us it makes a huge difference. We're a community organisation, we run on the smell of an oily rag, so we get these kinds of things taken. It makes a huge difference to how the Trust operates, and we're here for the good of Dunedin and the good of Otago, and for the good of young people and for the good of the community. And people come here and disrespect themselves and us and their community, and it's all a bit tragic really.
Most disappointing is the theft of a virtual reality headset, which is no good on its own.
The main problem is we've lost our virtual reality headset, which is useless to anybody except for the people who have the other gear to go with it, and it's very expensive obviously, so now we've got this asset that can't be used until that's returned.
The loss of power tools will also impact on the Trust's training programs for young people.
We make picnic tables with young people. We get them to problem solve the hows. How do we build a picnic table? And I leave them to it and provide supervision and safety and stuff. But they stole the sanders for those tables, so now we can't sand them next week, which is a bit of a pain.
The Malcolm Trust is now having to clean up the damage from the break-in and replace what was stolen. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Still to come on the South Today, attempts to raise part of the Abel Tasman shipwreck in Greymouth proves too difficult for excavators, and a Cromwell squash referee pushes for more women referees in the sport.
For all your news from the southern regions as it happens, go to our Facebook page. The South Today, connecting you with your community thanks to New Zealand On Air.
It's on again, the Star Regent 24-hour book sale. Starts noon the 8th of June. Don't miss out.
At Action Engineering, the team make their mark as innovators in engineering because they don't just make things, they provide solutions. Call now on 477-1643 or go online to see the services they provide.
Why wait for seed to germinate? Why not do it the smart way? For instant results, call Ready Lawn today, or for more information, go to readylawn.co.nz.
Helping New Zealanders to do more. Talk to MTF today.
At the Hard to Find Bookshop, we sell quality books on all subjects from the rare to the recent, and where viable, we will come to you. We have a great reputation for integrity and honesty, so if you're downsizing or sorting an estate and have books to sell, contact us.
Garrador Dunedin, delivering quality stylish garage doors in Dunedin for over 15 years. New doors, replacement doors, repairs and maintenance are all part of Garrador's quality service. Garrador Dunedin offers a full range of modern quality doors to suit any home. Come visit the team at 553 Kaikoura Valley Road. Visit www.garrador.co.nz or call us on 488 5676.
Massive menswear sale on now. Alex Campbell Menswear have brought out a top suppliers warehouse and factory shop. Nothing but bargains for you. Hurry in, South Dunedin store only.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Here is this week's Mole Map UV report. Did you know New Zealanders have the highest incidence rate of melanoma in the world?
If you've ever been on a sunbed or been badly sunburnt, what are the chances you could have melanoma? Remove the doubt. Get a mole map.
Welcome back. The man in charge of Dunedin's Roofs Stadium is understood to be one of the highest paid public servants in the city. The company's 2017 annual report shows one Dunedin Venues employee, believed to be Terry Davies, earning between $350,000 and $359,000. When Terry Davies took up the role in 2014, his salary was listed at $200,000. In 2016, the company listed one employee, also believed to be Mr. Davies, earning between $270,000 and $279,000. By comparison, Dunedin Mayor Dave Cole received over $146,000, plus the use of a car between 2016 to 2017. While Council Chief Executive Sue Bidrose is understood to earn around $379,000 a year. An attempt to remove part of the old shipwreck from Greymouth Beach was abandoned today. Two diggers were used to try and remove the boiler left over from a 1932 wrecked ship called the Abel Tasman. The South Today found out more.
The bid to remove the boiler left over from the Greymouth shipwreck, the Abel Tasman, was abandoned this morning due to rough seas. After having been buried by sand for much of the last 82 years, parts of the wreck have become exposed recently, leaving spikes of metal poking through the surf. Being a hazard to swimmers and surfers, it was decided to remove the old metal boiler and possibly display it on land nearby. However, after 45 minutes of digging, it barely moved when the excavators tried to pull it out. Grey District Council staff called off the attempt around 11 a.m, saying they will try again when the tide is more favourable. The Greymouth Star for the South Today.
High-level Cromwell squash referee Jackie Hamilton is back from the Commonwealth Games in Australia and keen to get more women into squash refereeing. Hamilton is one of only 5 top-level female referees in the world. Mina Amso reports.
Cromwell pharmacist and squash referee Jackie Hamilton is well sought after internationally. Partly because she's a woman.
In a tournament where they need women, you know, the gender is on our side.
Hamilton is a high qualified Oceania regional referee. She's the only one of 5 women in the world in the same ranking.
I only discovered that when I extended out of Australia and past Australia into Saudi Arabia.
She was asked to referee in Saudi Arabia in January at the Saudis' first ever Women's Squash Masters. Because it was a female-only event, the Saudi Professional Squash Association needed to find female referees.
So that all of a sudden became a problem, and they were finding referees from way down under.
New Zealand has an equal number of female and male squash referees, but there are no female referees overseas. She says there's some travel involved which prevents some women with family and job commitments from taking up refereeing. She says it's a confidence thing.
You have to put your really confident game face on, and even if you're not quite sure underneath it. There's a lot of feedback from the players, as in can be quite negative feedback from the players, so not a lot of people, women or men, actually want to put themselves in that position.
Hamilton and other female referees wrote to the World Squash Federation suggesting more recruitment and involvement of women in the sport.
Actually, that there wasn't a closed progression scale, so at the moment it sort of feels like you get to a certain point and you can't go any further because at the top there's an old boys club.
Hamilton began discussions with other female referees within New Zealand about what could be done, and the World Squash Federation is keen to look into it further. She hopes the conversation will encourage women at a club level to step up to the stand and reef.
It's really coming from grassroots and pushing up, and that's not just in New Zealand, that's in all countries.
A step closer to getting more women in the field. Mina Amso, The South Today.
After the break on The South Today, veteran bungee jumper Henry Van Ash ticks another one off his list with his first heli leap over Otago Harbour. And we have tomorrow's weather for you.
Helping New Zealanders to do more. Talk to MTF today.
Massive menswear sale on now. Alex Campbell Menswear have brought out a top suppliers warehouse and factory shop. Nothing but bargains for you. Hurry in, South Dunedin store only.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Oh, I'm not happy with this product demonstration, Ralphie. Oh, relax. It's all about balance. The balance between softness and strength. And my balance is perfect.
So we won't fall?
Of course not.
Hi, Ralphie.
Oh, hey,
Whoa. You fell for it.
Yep, I fell for it.
Cotton Softs. Softness and strength you can trust.
I'm cotton soft on the environment too.
It's on again, the Star Regent 24-hour book sale. Starts noon the 8th of June. Don't miss out.
At the Hard to Find Bookshop, we sell quality books on all subjects from the rare to the recent. And where viable, we will come to you. We have a great reputation for integrity and honesty, so if you're downsizing or sorting an estate and have books to sell, contact us.
At Action Engineering, the team make their mark as innovators in engineering because they don't just make things, they provide solutions. Call now on 477 1643 or go online to see the services they provide.
Here is this week's Mole Map UV report. Did you know if you tan easily or have dark skin, you're still at risk of skin cancer?
If you've ever been on a sunbed or been badly sunburnt, what are the chances you could have melanoma? Remove the doubt. Get a mole map.
Why wait for seed to germinate? Why not do it the smart way? For instant results, call Ready Lawn today, or for more information, go to readylawn.co.nz.
Thanks for staying with us. A police raid in Mornington this morning involving the Armed Defenders Squad has failed to yield any arrests. Witnesses reported several police cars and officers armed with rifles on Brunel Street near the intersection with Mailer Street about 8 a.m. A police spokeswoman says Dunedin officers executed a pre-planned search warrant at the Mornington property. The two people police were looking for were not at the property and inquiries are ongoing. Veteran bungee jumper Henry Van Ash has ticked off another milestone today with his first heli leap over Otago Harbour. The spectacle of a herd of helicopters over the middle of the harbour attracted many people's attention.
It's not every day that someone launches themselves out of a perfectly functioning helicopter. In fact, it was a first for Dunedin when veteran bungee jumper Henry Van Ash leapt out of a local chopper above the Otago Harbour.
It's the first time we've done the heli raid has ever been done in this harbour, and so yeah, it's been a great day today. It was pretty consistent up there. It was pretty steady. So these Heli Otago pilots are some of the best in the world. So as long as they're comfortable flying in these conditions, then we're happy to jump.
The helicopter took off from the Kitchener Street helipad around 11 a.m, rose to 500 feet, and after he jumped, Henry Van Ash bounced a couple of times, then was carried back to the helipad. Van Ash is one of the co-founders of the A.J. Hackett Bungee Company, and his jump was in conjunction with the tourism industry Aotearoa's 4-day Trends Conference, which is being held in the city. Daryl Baser, The South Today.
The public at Queenstown Bay were treated to a new type of watercraft on Sunday. It was a hydrofoil electric bike and created by a North Island business who are keen to demonstrate their prototype. The South Today went to the lakeshore for a look.
Making its way through the choppy waters of Lake Wakatipu is no problem for the Manta 5 water e-bike. The almost $8,000 hydrofoil machine, which has pedals assisted by electric motors, is good for about 80 minutes ride time, at roughly 20 kilometres an hour depending on the conditions. With carbon fibre hydrofoils and an aircraft-grade aluminium frame, the water bike is partially powered by a 400-watt e-bike motor. The water bike was invented by Guy Howard Willis, who founded the Waikato-based company after dreaming one night of cycling on water surrounded by dolphins. It may well be available for rent in Queenstown in the future. Mountain Scene for The South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on The South Today. Trends brings hundreds of overseas visitors who have a big influence on New Zealand's billion-dollar tourism industry. The first day of the game bird hunting season went to the ducks, with many evading some hunters who weren't having much luck. And Dunedin's Malcolm Charitable Trust is out of pocket after $3,000 worth of equipment was stolen over the weekend. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Phil Somerville. What have you got for us?
The fresh pages tomorrow, 3 of them. The main features about cheese and cooking, and an expert on cheese talks about it, and of course says the best cheese is well ripe. You know, get close to that just before date, and then enjoy your cheese.
And it makes it quite soft and gooey. It's quite a different texture.
It is indeed. Also in the fresh pages there's a brownie recipe with sugar substitutes and all sorts of healthy stuff. So I wonder if a healthy brownie is a contradiction. I'll read the recipe and find out.
I'm sure it's not. I've seen some ones like that. I'll be looking forward to that.
Now we've got winner on the What's With That, Paul Gorman's page 2. The winners of the autumn picture competitions is announced tomorrow, and you know he received hundreds of entries. And Paul was sorry he could only run a sample in the end. He likes to run most pictures with the opportunity, but there's been some beauty. It's been a fabulous autumn throughout the province. No surprise if it led a little hint that most of the winners come from central Otago rather than Dunedin itself. So look for those on page 2 tomorrow. Engineering hubs looking plans for an engineering hub in Dunedin.
Fantastic.
That's promising, that's good news, and we have more about the extra flights to Auckland and what a dire position we were in a few years ago, and now lots of flights to Auckland, which is great.
So there's something for everyone in tomorrow's ODT. And now it's time for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by MolMap.
Today's southern view is of heavy clouds building over South Dunedin. Looking at the situation, a spell of fine weather is coming as an anticyclone moves across the North Island, but westerly airflow will remain over the far south. Another front will arrive on Friday with some more showers. Looking at the southern towns, Balclutha, Catlins, Gore and Lumsden can all expect fine weather with moderate winds and a high of 14. Moving westwards to central, Alexandra, Queenstown and Wanaka are in for fine weather with moderate winds and a high of 15. Te Anau sees fresh westerlies with some cloud and a high of 13. Looking towards the northern towns, Oamaru and Timaru on the coast can expect moderate winds, clear skies and a high of 16, and it's pretty much the same for Omarama and Twizel with a high of 15. In Dunedin, it will be fine tonight with gusty winds and an overnight low of 11. Fine and mostly sunny tomorrow with breezy winds decreasing during the day, a high of 15 and a low of 7. And it's mostly cloudy on Thursday with light winds, a high of 16 and a low of 11. And in Invercargill, the showers will be clearing tonight with strong to gale force winds decreasing and an overnight low of 8. Mostly fine tomorrow with a high of 12 and a low of 5. Thursday sees sunny periods with some cloud and moderate winds, a high of 13 and a low of 7. And that's our news for this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, you can follow us on Facebook, YouTube and at channel39.co.nz. I hope you have a great evening. Take care. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.